Welcome back to Existential Office Hours, the podcast where we ask the big questions, like what's the point? Seriously. Today's episode is brought to you by The Void, because I have recently had absolutely no will to live. Not in like a dramatic way, just in like a we're all going to end up in the same state kind of way. So yeah, if you're feeling like a hollow little meat slab, grab a chair, pull up, and let's unpack it, cry a little, and maybe laugh about the absurdity of it all. So before we get into it, again, I do want to start with some disclaimers. So if you are actively suicidal, maybe don't listen. And also, as always, approach with an open mind. So I haven't been doing it for the past couple episodes because I just forgot, but I think it's super duper important to be doing a land acknowledgement. So I have my land acknowledgement here, and I'm just going to be going over that. So I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm currently broadcasting this podcast on stolen land that was once rich in generations of culture, biodiversity, and sacred traditions, and wisdom passed down through generations was disrupted by colonization and bears the scars of history. Nevertheless, it continues to heal and regenerate despite of this ongoing violence. This land remains deeply rooted in Indigenous identity of those that were here before us, those of the Mississauga of the Credit, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe-Wendat, and the Wendake-Nuenso nations. Acknowledging these nations is important to me as a Black woman whose home was previously colonized and is now changed by these systems to address systemic oppression and colonization that continues to happen in our world today. The Mississauga, Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe-Wendat, and Wendake-Nuenso people of this land are not forgotten despite the injustice and displacement they have faced. Like the Anishinaabe values, I'm committed to reconciliation and minimizing my impact on the environment. And I continue to learn from, support, and uplift these communities. And I urge you to find your own ways to support Indigenous rights and communities with following their values. Beautiful. So that's my land acknowledgement, and I should have been doing it in my previous episodes, but like I said, I forgot, so I would just be putting them in the caption for my previous episodes. Otherwise, I will be continuing to do a land acknowledgement before beginning every episode. So let's get into this because it seems like a pretty stigmatized topic, and I'm not necessarily proud of that, and I'm not necessarily sure of how this will be received, but nevertheless, I will be the black lamb I'm black. I'll be the one to burst that bubble. So let's get into it, because this week has been really, really rough for me. It's pay week, and pay week is always really, really rough for me because I don't get paid a lot. And not only that, but I also budget my money, and while it is super duper helpful and I can like actively like see the impact it's had on my finances, it's really sad to just like watch all the money leave. All of it. Adulting is not fun. But yeah, and obviously not everything is about money, but in our current world and Western world, it's hard to make things not about money, which I believe we should bring back the barter system. Okay, I could sell my art, my services, but I won't get into that in this episode, but I'm in huge favor of the barter system. So yeah, maybe we should bring that back. Maybe we should bring that back. I feel like it would be so much better for my economy, my own personal economy. But anyways, enough about the barter system. Maybe I can get into that in another episode. But yeah, we're talking about the lack of a will to live today. And now when I say this, I want to address that there is such like a huge stigma around it, and I feel like that is the case because a lot of people think when someone says they don't have a will to live, that they're saying they're suicidal and they want to kill themselves. I don't hear that, but apparently people do hear that. And that's not the case. That's not the case. When I say I have no will to live, I'm not talking about like no survival instinct. I don't mean like if a truck was racing towards me or a train was racing towards me, like I'm not gonna jump out of the way. Like that's like survival instinct. Like survival instinct is like the basic like hindbrain shit. Like you have to actively like override your hindbrain, or I guess like if you're in a state of freeze, like you would stay. But it's like hindbrain, like fight, flight, freeze, fawn type thing. I mean, like this is like a frontal lobe, like executive functioning type. I don't even know if this is executive functioning, but this is like in the frontal lobe, like complex thought. And when I say I don't have a will to live, I'm talking about like I have this like, I don't know if it would be considered apathy, but it's like this numbness to like living. Like I know we're all going to die at the end of the day, and I know we're all just distracting ourselves, whether we want to believe it or not, and just trying to like, you know, make the most of our time here type thing, which is like completely fine, completely valid. Like you're already here, why not? But I just have a hard time lying to myself, because that's what I would be doing. Maybe not other people, but for me, that's what I would be doing. I would be literally lying to myself, being like, no, you love it here, you love it, it's so great, like bills, yay, 2 weeks of vacation a year, yay, who doesn't want that? So yeah, and I feel this numbness with just like, you know, like why are we doing this? Someone answer me, please. Why are we doing this? And, you know, there's this whole thing around like making meaning and meaning making to make your time here more tolerable. But I also find that so like tedious and annoying. And 100%, like there are things in my life that are meaningful, like my child. If I refer to my child in future episodes, it is my beautiful pet bunny boy. But like my child, my partner, friends and such. But like, which my child will live forever, by the way. We are going to die on the same day. So yeah, he's gonna live for as long as I do. But yeah, it's this numbness, and at the same time it's this sensitivity, because like yesterday I went to brunch with my partner, and you know, we were having a blast, and then all of a sudden I'm like eating it was like a steak and egg thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this cow is someone's child. Why did my brain think of that? And obviously I tried to counter it by saying like, okay, well it's someone's child, like you can't have it go to waste, like you have to thank the cow and use it for nourishment. But anyways, it made me feel really sick after. So at the same time of feeling this like numbness and like, what am I doing here? This is literally pointless. Like I could die right now and like the world would keep going, like literally nothing would change. But also it's this like increased sensitivity to like me feeling how others feel, and like how not animals feel, because I don't know how animals feel, but like just this increased sensitivity to just like the world and what's happening around us, in relation to how I'm feeling and in relation to my life. And I feel like I mentioned this a lot with like around my friends and stuff, and I asked them like, hey, do you have a will to live? Like, where'd you get that? Where'd you get yours? Where'd you find your will to live? Please, please, someone answer me. I'm not joking. I feel like people think I'm joking when I'm not joking, and not joking when I am joking. But anyways, I'm not joking. Someone please answer me where you get your will to live, because I feel like no one answered me, and I don't think it's my friends being rude. I think we're just all on the same boat, and I'm concerned for all of us. Yeah. So I think we're all kind of in the same boat, but no one wants to talk about it because of, that fear that people are going to think you're suicidal when you're not. You're just feeling these really big, confusing emotions that no one knows how to voice, really. So I'm glad I can be the one to voice it. But yeah, it's really taken a huge toll on myself and my life, because I feel like I can't be happy. Or maybe I'm happy and asymptomatic, but I feel like I can't be happy when I know, like, this moment, like, if I'm doing something I like and whatever, this moment is not going to last. This feeling is not going to last. And at the end of the day, we're all gonna be worm food, as great Ernest said. So yeah, it's hard for me to grapple with that and like grasp that. And I guess I could call myself a hater for, not being able to just like enjoy the moment and enjoy these things, which I can. I can put myself in the moment and I can enjoy it, but at the end of the day, nothing lasts and it's gonna be over. And then I'm like, why am I lying to myself? But it's also this paradoxical thing where it's like, why am I lying to myself? But also, like, I'm allowed to enjoy my life. Like, it's not like I need to, like, live a life of suffering all the time because life is pointless, right? So, yeah, I really grapple with that. And I think it's important to mention, because not a lot of people feel like this, which is mind-blowing to me, but, kudos if you have a will to live, truly. Like, you're really better than me. But not everyone is well-adjusted, and I recently found that term, and I was like, yeah, this is what it is. But yeah, not everyone is well-adjusted, and I don't think I'm very well-adjusted. By well-adjusted, I should have found a definition, but by well-adjusted, I mean, like, to living. Yeah. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, you are not fazed by this. Or even if you do believe life has no meaning or whatever, like, you're okay with just, like, going on. And it's hard for me to grapple with. So that's why I say I'm not very well adjusted, because how can I know, this is meaningless, and like, sure, I have my moments where I can like have fun and whatever, but then I have these weeks, and obviously mental health goes in like waves, like it's not like a straight line type thing. And unless I distract myself good enough, like, I don't feel like I have a will to live. And I feel like it's so important to touch on. I saw a TikTok creator, I forgot their name, but maybe I'll put it in the comments if I find it. And they were just talking about how not everyone is well adjusted also, and that life literally feels like a job to some people, and people like can't comprehend that. Like people outside of that bubble can't comprehend that, like living, like for some people it's literally so taxing, and just like doing the most basic things like getting out of bed, making your bed, brushing your teeth, I don't know, it feels like a job to do, and it's not enjoyable. I can like touch on this on a future episode because I've been wanting to talk about that and its correlation with suicidality, but it's like a lot. It's a lot to deal with, and also to watch other people, just because, you know, humans are social creatures, to watch other people be like, this is okay, and, you know, they're dealing with this so fine, and then you literally feel like life is like a task, like anything you do is a task, is a lot. And I recall actually, like last summer, was it? When the whole like ChatGPT like analyzed my Instagram page, whatever. When that was big, it was super funny. I was still scared of like giving AI photos, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I like cropped out my Instagram name, and anyways, AI probably knows my Instagram. But yeah, I asked Chat to do that, and I was really surprised by it in comparison with what some of my friends were getting. They were getting like cool, like silly things, and I don't know how surprised I was by it, but I'll like, anyways. But Chat was saying that like I have like the perfect life based on my Instagram bio. And I honestly like really hated that. I did, because I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my life, guys. Okay. And I hated it. So I don't know if I even posted that, but I was like, this is not cool. So now I feel weird posting on Instagram, because people think I have like a perfect life or something. And obviously, like, we know social media just shows like, you know, the good parts of people's lives, not the bad. And I also would not necessarily be posting the bad parts of my life either, but my life is by no means perfect. So yeah, we can pop that little bubble. And I always wanted to be like more real on social media, but I'm a very shy person, so that won't be happening. So yeah, and it doesn't, like, life doesn't need to feel like a job, but it does for some people, and it's hard. It's really hard. I'm excited to get into that topic and dissect it a bit more later on. And, you know, along with what Chat said about me, I feel like people also tend to think I'm like a really calm person, and, you know, I'm stoic and whatever. I thought being stoic was a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. But anyways, and this is why, like, I literally don't care. I don't care about anything. And it's not a good quality necessarily to have. It could also not be a bad thing. But, you know, people will like see me doing things like this podcast, for instance, and be like, wow, like, she's so well adjusted, and look at her Instagram. Like, no, I'm high functioning, guys. I'm high functioning and crippling. Okay? I'm literally, that's all it is. Like, I'm high functioning and fighting for my life. But I don't care about anything. It's hard to care about things when, like, we're literally, like, we're in our own little bubble in this, like, Western world. And there are so many, like, bigger problems happening that I can't even fathom in my brain, that I'm like, this is, like, meaningless. Like, obviously, like, I have things that mean a lot to me, but, like, my house isn't being bombed right now. Like, how can I care about, like, oh, I have to pay my credit card bill, when, like, that's such a privilege, like, coming from such a place of privilege. And I'm not saying, like, oh, because I have, like, I'm coming from a place of privilege, or because my life isn't super duper hard, I can't have things that bother me. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying it's really hard for me to find things that bother me when I know the state of the world, or some of the state of the world. I obviously don't know everything. And that brings me to my next point. Like, we tend to think a lot of things are super important. And, I'm not here to tell people, like, what's important and what's not important to them. If you think something's important to you, go ahead. But I have recently, like, realized how much it bothers me that we don't, like, take care of humans in our community and our species just in general because of the color of our skin or who we decide to worship or whatever. And it's so stupid. It's so stupid. I hate it. And it really is so stupid. It causes so much division. And for what? Like, we are literally the same species. We're Homo sapiens. Okay, me and my evolution. Anyways, we're Homo sapiens. We're all going to die at the end of the day. And people act like they're important. They're more important than other people or less important than other people. And, like, there's this huge, like, status quo. Like, maybe in theory there is for, like, tax brackets and whatever. But otherwise, we're all the same. And I find it bothersome when people don't partake in, like, just, like, helping other humans. And you don't need to be rich to do this. You can volunteer. You can, I don't know, drop $1 in someone's cup or something. But it really bothers me, and it just adds to my feeling of, like, numbness, because what are we doing here if not, like, helping each other? Like, at least that would, like, kind of warm someone's heart, make the world more livable, tolerable. But we're not. We think it's more important to, I don't know, buy designer stuff than hand out jackets to homeless people. It's not cool. And then there's this societal pressure to be positive all the time, despite of everything happening. And I'm sorry, like, I can't be fake to myself. I can be fake, but I can't be fake to myself, okay? I know what's happening. And so that trend that I hate so much, I understand the need for it and the want and stuff, but I hate this trend so much. It's like the trend that's like, oh, how lucky I am to pay bills and how lucky I am to whatever. I understand the gratitude and the importance of gratitude. Maybe it's helped some other people. It hasn't helped me because I'm like, this is stupid. I'm sorry. Okay, it's just for me. If it helps you, that's great. I'm happy for you. But for me, it's just, like, stupid. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not lucky to be fighting for my life. Like, how lucky I am to be depressed, have no will to live. Like, it's gaslighting at its finest. It's gaslighting at its finest because you're literally gaslighting yourself. And I also think on a deeper level, it's, like, trying to, like, coerce us to be, like, okay with, like, these societal norms that are not okay. Like, sorry, I don't feel lucky. I don't feel lucky to be depressed, and I don't feel lucky having to pay a bunch of money to taxes, okay? Like, I don't. But taxes are important. Taxes are important for helping our community, so 100%. But, yeah, like, I feel like that's just, like, premium. Like, like, Spotify regular and Spotify premium. Like, I feel like that's, like, premium gaslighting. And I won't do it. I won't do it to myself. I can journal. I could be grateful for things. My life isn't particularly hard also. So I could be grateful for things. But, like, no. Telling a depressed person to have gratitude. Be grateful. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Shut up. Please. Please. Thank you. So yeah, and I have this, like, especially when I see what's happening in the world today, I have this deep, like, feeling of, like, empathy, and I like to call it, like, non-survivor survival guilt. Guys, that's a mouthful. Um, yeah, I like to call it that because it's not like my life is necessarily hard. Like, I know, like, my life is not hard, and I feel like, Jesus, God knows that I can't take too much. I really am not his strongest soldier. I'm not. Don't test me. I don't want no adversity. Okay, please. But yeah, I know my life isn't, like, necessarily hard. And I have this, like, non-survivor survival guilt because there are people in, like, other parts of the world that could, like, have my life and just, like, do so many amazing things probably that I have and I'm not doing with that. And I know, like, just because, like, I don't have, like, a super bad situation doesn't mean I can't feel, like, valid feelings, and I validate my emotions, but it's this, like, just, like, this deep feeling of, like, why me? Like, this could be someone else that would be so much more thankful for this life, that would have a will to live. And here I am, making a podcast over how I don't have one. Anyways, this week was just really long. And it always seems to happen around payday. I need to stop getting paid. No, it is. And, you know, it's for payday for me, and also when I go too long without therapy. Yeah. Which, my therapy is just, like, me, like, bouncing ideas off of my therapist. It's not, like, me saying my problems and her fixing them. Because I have an existential therapist. But, yeah, I need to book a session. Yeah, it's important. It's important. Therapy is important. And if you relate to anything I say, please seek help. Genuinely. I'm not joking. So yeah, and just, like, knowing we're all in our own little bubble of Western world. And there are, like, bigger things happening, and that there's nothing you could do about it, just contributes to, like, why are we doing the most? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So, yeah. But that was a lot. That was a lot, guys. This was also just me freeballing. Just saying all the thoughts that have been on my mind this week. And you know what? I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I lived 10 minutes or less away walking distance from the ocean, I really don't think I would feel like this. And I mean the ocean, okay? Not the lake. I mean the Caribbean Sea. I would not feel like this. I really would have a hard time fathoming doing that. And part of that is because I only feel like myself when I'm in the water. I wish I had a cheaper addiction, but I don't. Plane tickets are expensive and no one wants to go anywhere with me. Well, people do want to go places, but money is the problem. So, it's okay. I will continue to rewatch videos and relive those moments that I was in the ocean. But it's sad. It's sad to think this is your reality, and, you know, you're subjected to this life, and there's not much you can do about it. And it's even sadder to think, you know, this is something that I think would make me happy, but it's so far out of reach. So, yeah, these have been my thoughts for this week. Let me know if you guys relate. Please say you relate. Even if you don't relate, say you relate. No, I'm kidding. But with that, I will close. I think I'll also be posting some supports for existential work, like existential therapies and resources and all that jazz. I think that's super important when we're talking about having a lack of will to live, because it is something I feel like I'm not alone on, but it's just so stigmatized and people don't feel comfortable sharing without feeling like other people think they're going to kill themselves. So I think that's super important. And with that, I want to say, if you're feeling like there's no will to live right now, just know you're not alone in that. You don't have to have hope today. Sometimes just breathing is enough. I'm glad you're here. Take care of your heart, and I'll see you next time. Love you.